with us right here on Business Day on ET Now, and we've been on non-stop breaking news after the Big Bang RIL numbers. We now have, of course, the big story of the day, which is the MAT report. The AP Shah panel, we're given to understand, has just submitted its report. It's a three-member panel which comprises of Ashok Lahiri, it comprises of AP Shah, and of course, it's the MAT report has just been submitted. I'll take it across to Suchetna Ray, who's joining us on the phone line, to give us a sense of why is this report so important. Do we have any leads just yet, Suchetna, on this report? This report has just been submitted. Help us understand why is this report so crucial.
Supriya, we have to remember this entire issue of minimum alternate tax and its applicability on foreign portfolio investors has been a very controversial issue in India since FY15. The MAT was introduced by P. Chidambaram in 2007 as a tool to tax domestic companies to stop them from evading tax. However, it was for the first time in FY15 that MAT notices were sent, MAT demand notices that is, were sent to foreign investors. The very essence of MAT is that it is only applicable on book profits. The very fact that foreign investors don't even have a permanent establishment in India, forget maintaining books of profits, is what experts have held as the main reason why MAT cannot be applicable. We have to remember here that ET Now has brought its viewers news time and again. The top sources have indicated that the majority view within the three-member AP Shah panel is that MAT is not applicable on FPIs. There's going to be a huge boost. They are basing their argument on the very fact that in 2007, MAT was introduced to be only leviable on domestic companies. However, some sources also indicate that the MAT panel report has also indicated to the government that, keeping in mind the huge profits that FPIs make in India, the government might think about some way of taxing them. However, MAT is not the correct taxation tool. Sources tell us that the MAT report is only talking about the applicability of minimum alternate tax on foreign investors. Whether there will be a retrospective release based on this report will be taken by the Revenue Department and the Finance Ministry once the report has been submitted. And sources indicate that that decision will finally be taken in mid-August once the Supreme Court comes out with its verdict on Castleton.
Right. So, Cheta, in fact, I was going to ask you what happens next on that, and let's replay those visuals on air if we can. We have Justice AP Shah and the rest of the panel members just walk into the Finance Ministry, and within minutes from now, you actually will have the Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, AP Shah and Shaktikant Das, India's Revenue Secretary, brief the media at large about the applicability of this report, what does this report contain and why is it so crucial. You have Justice AP Shah walking into the North Block. This happened about 10 minutes back, so the report has now been submitted. So, Cheta, very quickly, I wanted to understand from you, I know you briefly answered this previously, but there is a Castleton case that has already been contested in the Supreme Court. I know the hearing for that is perhaps, I think, the 4th of August next. This report is in place now. Is the Finance Ministry going to take this report to the Supreme Court and essentially lay out what an expert panel has had to say?
Supriya, top sources in Finance Ministry, especially in the Central Board of Direct Taxes, have told us that once Justice AP Shah submits his report, which is based on the erudite consultations from Professor Girish Ahuja, widely considered as perhaps India's topmost tax expert at this point, and by Dr. Ashok Lahiri, the Finance Ministry will adopt this panel report and they will not hold back a retrospective release. We have to remember that India has always frowned upon, especially the present government, on retrospective amendment of taxation. However, a retrospective release, they say, is something that is already in the offing, provided the AP Shah panel goes ahead and says that, yes, MAT is not applicable on FPIs. So therefore, the entire understanding is that though panel reports in India are not binding on the government, but the Finance Ministry is fully in its right to not only adopt the report, but also take it to the Supreme Court.
All right, I'll take it to the Supreme Court. So, Cheta, hold your thoughts there and be with us. If you want, you can actually make some calls and get us exclusive news if you want to. In the interim, I'm going to be chatting with Ashwin Mohan. I'll await your call and we'll await the details that you will bring to us. But just for the benefit of our viewers, it's important to point out what are we discussing here. We're really discussing the applicability of MAT as far as FIIs are concerned. It was in 2007 that MAT was introduced by then Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. It's applicable on domestic companies to check tax evasion. It has so far never been levied on foreign investors. It is levied on book profits, and because FPIs don't maintain books of accounts in India, MAT is not applicable on FPIs. FPIs do not have permanent establishment in India, and which is the other big reason why MAT is not applicable. In fiscal year 15, MAT notices were sent to FPIs for the first time, and that is when it created a lot of havoc, and people thought this was a retrospective taxation and all of that. To be the devil's advocate, and especially to be the advocate of the government at this stage, and before I move on to that, notices worth 680 crore rupees were issued to FPIs. Remember, the rate of MAT is about 20%. There was an advance tax ruling, AAR ruling of 2012. There was absolute silence after that, and you know, nothing was really said on this matter. It was only in 2015 did the 2012 ruling of AAR come into effect, and which is why these notices were sent. But IT-80 verdict in 2010 had said that MAT is not applicable on FPI. So there are two contradictory legal opinions even on the applicability of MAT, and which is why the government sources say, and the Finance Minister has said it on record, he said it on your channel time and again, on ET Now here, that they'd had to issue notices because there was an advance ruling on that matter. Because there was such a conundrum, Finance Minister Jaitley was forced to set up this panel. It's comprised of very eminent people, Justice AP Shah himself, Ashok Lahiri, and of course, Guru Sadhan. We've got Mukesh Butani, who's joining us on the phone line with more perspective on this matter. I'll take it across to him. And I've also got Ashwin Mohan joining us from our Mumbai newsroom. Thanks, both of you, for being with us. Mr. Butani, I'm going to come to you first. This is a very crucial matter that's coming up. We've been given to understand that the Finance Minister and AP Shah, along with India's Revenue Secretary Shaktikanta Das, will be very soon briefing the media. We expect some of the report to at least be made public, some of the details to be spelt out there. But this, I mean, you know, the two contradictory legal opinions have really put the government in a bind of sorts as far as MAT is concerned. There's been miscommunication, if not ill-intention of the government on this matter. What is it that FIIs expect from Justice AP Shah today?
Well, the FIIs clearly expect that the expert committee has looked into this matter, and they will opine in favor of a position that there is no question of levy of MAT given the reading of the law. That's really the expectation. I think one has to wait and see what eventually would be contained in the report. But I think the timing of the report is significant, given the fact that on the 4th of August, the